We're going to get started, ladies and gentlemen. If you take your seats, please. Chazan Stein's going to help us warm up with a Shabbat Melody, something that'll get us in the mood, please.
Sing Hine Ma Tov, how good it is for us all to be together in this beautiful day and being able to be inside for those of you on streaming as well. Hine Ma Tovu Manayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Ma Tovu Manayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Ma Tov Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Ma Tov Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Ma Tov Manayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad.
Come on, everyone.
Hine Ma Tov Manayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Ma Tov, Hine Ma Tov. La 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 la. Hine Ma Tov, Hine Ma Tov. Ya la 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 la. Hine Ma Tov Manayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Ma Tov Manayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Ma Tov, Hine Ma Tov. Ya la 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 la. Hine Ma Tov, Hine Ma Tov. Ya la 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 la. And since it's Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat 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 Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat 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 Shalom, Shabbat 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 Shalom, Shabbat 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 Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, hey, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat 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 Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat 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 Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. I want you to get in the mood for this moment of holiness that we're going to spend together the next hour. Just take a deep breath and just relax. All that excitement of getting dressed and getting ready. Take another breath and let's calm ourselves and feel about being in the present moment, to be able to share with Jacob and with the Gold family, with the Green family, and so much to celebrate and appreciate. You know, we too often don't appreciate the moment. So I'm going to help you appreciate the moment. You're not going to like this, though. I'm going to ask you just to turn off your cell phones. Just turn them off. I can't imagine, unless you are waiting for a call for a physician, if there's something that absolutely is going to happen, if not 1 hour, to feel the freedom of being disconnected. Right? That you don't have to worry about who's contacting you. Kids, you don't have to worry about what am I going to put on Snapchat or Twitter, or what am I going to do to my friends? What am I going to text if I don't respond quick enough? Oh my God, they won't like me anymore. Or do I have to wait a little while because I can't respond too quickly? Like all that decision making, can get you, can it? So we're just going to enjoy that feeling of Shabbat, the holiness of the day. This morning we were here and celebrating Shabbat morning. Last night we were together and we celebrated the Friday night service. The afternoon service is a little bit different. It's called Mincha, and on Saturday afternoons we read from the Torah. That's why Jake can become a bar mitzvah on Saturday afternoon. So this is the Mincha service. In the morning, everybody of bar bat mitzvah age would have been encouraged to wear a talit, but on the Mincha service, it's only those people coming up to the Torah and who are involved as well. By the way, for young kids, we love young kids. He's going to be great. He's dressed to the nines. He's going to be fabulous. All right? But if you ever need, like there's a small room back there. If he needs it, I don't know if you do, but he might, right? Exactly. You can feel comfortable and sit there and just relax. I know we're in transition in terms of masking requirements and, the news that they're going to be able to take off masks indoors. And we're still working with that in large crowds and with singing. They're still encouraging wearing masks indoors. We're up here safely away from you. So the family and, for the first time, all Torah readers today, so the grandparents also coming up, you can take off your masks as well. It's going to be the first time we're actually allowing people up here even to do it. We're trying to figure it all out and keep everybody safe as well. We're going to be following along in our in the Siddur, in the smaller of the red books. So those of you in the front, you're going to have to borrow from one from behind you. Hopefully you'll be able to share. And it's the smaller of those two books. The bigger one is our Torah reading book, and we'll get to that, the Chumash, in a little bit. Jake is going to make his way up here because he's going to be leading us in the Ashrei. So page 214. Please, if you would, page 214. And this is a responsive reading, and Jake is going to begin, and we will respond. You ready, Jake?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Ashrei Yoshvei Veiteha, Od Yeho Lilu HaSela.
Ashream shekacha lo, Ashream she'Adonai Eloham.
Tehila La David, Ramem HaElohei HaMelech, Ve'avar HaShimcha Le'olam Va'ed.
B'chol yom avarchecha, v'ala shimcha le'olam va'ed.
Gadol Adonai Umehulo Me'od, Ve'ligdol Ato Ein Heker.
Dor Shabbat Ma'asecha, Ugurotecha yagidu.
Hadar Kevod Hodeha, Ve'divrei Nefleoteha Asiha.
Vezuzrotecha yomeru, Ugluatecha asaprena.
Zeherav Tufa Yabiyu, Ve'tzid Karha Yiramenu.
Chanun v'rachum Adonai, Erech hapayim u'gadol chesed.
Tov Adonai Lekol, Verahamav Al Kol Ma'asav.
Yoducha kol ma'asecha, v'chasidecha yivaruchucha.
Kevod Malchut HaYomeru, Uvorat HaYadaberu.
Lehodil livnei Adam gvulotav, u'chubot hadar malchuto.
Malchut Kol Olamim, Umemshalteha Behodor Vador.
Somech Adonai l'chol hanoflim, zokech l'chol hakafufim.
Eineho Elohai Yasaberu, Va'aton Ten Lehem Et Olam Be'ito.
Poteach et yadecha, u'masbir l'chol chai ratzon.
Sadik Adonai Behoder Ahav, Behasid Behol Ma'asav.
Karov Adonai l'chol korav, l'chol asher yikru be'emet.
Ritzon Yeriv Ya'aseh, Ve'et Shavatam Ishma V'Yoshiem.
Shomer Adonai kol ha'vahav, v'kol ha'shayim yashmid.
Tehilot Adonai Yadaber Pi, Ve'varak Kol Basar Shem Kodsho Le'olam Va'ed. Ve'anachnu Nevarek Ya, Matav Ad Olam. Hallelujah.
You feel better? You got that out of the way? All right. Jake, you'll go back down. We're going to continue page 217, the Chatzi Kaddish.
Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, ve'amad divrei chirutei, ve'amlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei l'chol Beit Yisrael, b'galav v'zman karim, v'yimeru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevorach, le'alam u'l'olmei olmaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitruman v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitale v'yitalal shmei dekudashah brichuhu le'ehela min kol b'chata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata lamiran be'alma v'yimeru amen.
One of the interesting features of the afternoon service is that we take the Torah out at the very beginning of that service. So we're going to call forward to help us in opening the Ark, Braden and Blake Green, and Sydney, Beth, and Zachary Miller. If you'll join us up here at this time. Come on. All right. Come on up, and when you open it, you're going to open it very slowly because they're heavy doors. We're going to rise together, play page 218.
Vani tefilati lecha Adonai et ratzon Elohim berov chasdecha aneni be'emet ishecha Vayehi mitzoa ha'aron vayomer Moshe קומה אדוני, ויפוצו אויביך, וינוסו משנאיך מפניך, כי בציון תצא תורה, כי בציון תצא תורה, ודבר אדוני מירושלים, ברוך שנתן תורה, תורה, ברוך שנתן תורה, תורה, לעמו ישראל בקדושתו. גדלו לאדוני איתי, ונרוממה שמו יחדיו. על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים העולם עומד. על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים, על שלושה דברים העולם עומד. על התורה ועל העבודה ועל גמילות חסדים, על התורה ועל העבודה ועל גמילות חסדים.
You may be seated. You can put away your prayer book. The smaller of those red books, if you want to take out and follow the Torah reading, you take out the larger of the red books, what we call the Chumash, from the Hebrew word, by the way, Chamesh, 5, meaning the 5 books of Moses. This morning, we finished reading the book of Exodus. This afternoon, we begin reading the book of Leviticus, of which Jake is later on going to share with us that it deals with a lot about the blood and gory and all that stuff about sacrifices, right, Jake? Right? So we don't have a temple, Jake, anymore, and where they offer up sacrifices. But like, if we could rebuild the temple and start sacrifices up again, would you want them or no? Sure. What 13-year-old said, why not? By the way, you know, there's a sense of revulsion about sacrifices. The truth of the matter is, how many of you, by the way, how many of you are vegetarians or vegans? How many of you are vegetarians or vegans? All right, very nice. The rest of you are carnivores or omnivores. So by the way, those sacrifices, the experience was no different than your Sunday barbecue. Right? Like it's no different. Like they would, although you don't slaughter the animal right there on site, but somewhere somebody slaughtered an animal for you to have that barbecue. And I know you don't like to think about that, but that's the truth. And the question is like, why would you offer up sacrifices? And why would the Jewish people offer up sacrifices? And it's interesting, it's clearly in the ancient world, lots of sacrifices being offered. Even in pagan traditions. Any of you ever watched that, the History Channel, Vikings? You ever watched that? Like, right, even pagans, right, up till 1,000 years ago, were offering up sacrifices in that way. And so what is it about this animal? And it's fascinating that in the Jewish tradition, in the Bible, what it's trying to do is distinguish between animal and human. It's trying to elevate the human being above the animalistic elements that we have. Don't you find that we often respond in our animalistic kind of origins, right? The fight or flight is all about, right, that origins from animal to early humans. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to elevate ourselves. So what do? One suggestion is that the animals represent what we are trying to give up. Right? They have no sense of what they do, no choice, and so we're offering them up. Now, I know there's animal rights lovers who say this is offensive and it's horrible, and I couldn't agree with you more. It's always interesting, animal rights lovers and who are not vegetarians. Right? It's an interesting kind of juxtaposition. Our religious tradition requires us to struggle with our values. Right? Just don't walk through life in a laissez-faire way, but struggle with what you're really about and what those values are. And in the ancient world, this struggle about elevating the human being as a source of holiness. We're told in the book of Leviticus that we shall be holy, and we need to act that way. So this is the beginning of the book of Leviticus. I'm going to call up. Jake, why don't you come up? All right, and Justin and Danielle, you're going to come up and share with your son and present him with a talit. I'll tell you this, we don't have to deal with clapping, just we're going to clap in our hearts. You don't have to acknowledge and when he receives the talit, but they're going to share with their son at this moment. Yeah, you can take masks off, absolutely. And Danielle, you're going first?
I am.
All right, Justin, why don't you take that? All right, get close to the microphone. Forget about everybody there. Just look at him. Move a little bit to your right, just so you're in front of the microphone. I want to make sure everybody can hear you. There you go.
My Jakey.
Closer. I want to hear you.
Can you hear me?
I know.
I will never forget the moment I found out I was pregnant, screaming from upstairs and Justin running up to make sure I was okay. I had a feeling right away that you were a boy, and I couldn't wait to meet you. Then, at 34 weeks, you were born in a frantic fashion. Dr. Enton and Dr. Oda performed a C-section in the middle of the night, and I remember so vividly amongst all that chaos when the nurses wrapped you up in a blanket and laid you beside me. It was the best moment of my life. I also remember at that very moment staring at your face, and honestly, I thought to myself, one day I'm going to give a speech at this little guy's bar mitzvah. And I thought, thank goodness it's far away, because I cannot wait for the adventures and experiences of raising this little kid. Jacob, you have not disappointed. Taking you to Temple Judea preschool, Bay Laurel, watching you play soccer on the Dragons, and flag football with your friends. You earned the nickname Ray Lewis Gold because of your intensity and laser focus, and no hesitation to back down from a scuffle in any situation. Also because you were ready to fight anyone who got in your way. Watching you point at the other team and yell cheaters as loud as you could still makes me laugh. You are a kind, compassionate, extremely intelligent, deep thinker. Raising you has taught me more about myself than I ever could have imagined. We always joke about how similar we are. While Justin and Julie are quick to react with sarcasm and humor, you and I take our time crafting our responses. We think before we speak, and we are sentimental too. We also have the same annoying mannerisms, which at times is hilarious, but also can make us go after each other with frustration. Just as your Torah portion speaks of sacrifice and compassion, you exemplify those qualities to a T. I remember once, a couple years ago, driving you over to Grandma and Papa's house for dinner. When we got off the freeway, there was a homeless man asking for change. I didn't think much of it, but as we pulled into Grandma's driveway, I turned around and saw tears streaming down your face. It affected you so much to see someone struggling and without the same opportunities that you have. And you have consistently said since that day, whenever asked what you want to do with your life, that you want to solve the homeless crisis. Watching you prepare for this bar mitzvah has been such a joy for me. Each week you would sing your prayers for Hazan Mimi, Bilha, and myself. And as your voice changed, each week the prayers sounded just a little bit different. You expressed to the rabbis what today means to you. And we discussed what an honor it is to have all of our friends and family with us, especially during this pandemic. You are so lucky to have both sets of grandparents, Grandma Sandy and Papa Joel, Grandma Arlene and Papa Ron with you today, and especially great-grandpa Jay, who turns 97 tomorrow, and who battled COVID just last month because he had to be here for us. Jacob, I hope you continue to dream big, and I hope you do amazing things like I know you will. You've made me the proudest mom, and I can't wait to see what you accomplish in this life. Mazel tov on becoming a bar mitzvah.
Okay, give your mom a hug. She made it through the whole thing, so that was great. The bets were against you, by the way, Danielle, making it through that whole thing. Justin, go ahead, please, in front of that microphone.
All right. Jakey, today you stand before us 13 years old. I can't believe it. 13 years have flown by, and you make your mom, your sister, and me so proud. And I've watched you prepare for this bar mitzvah with great tenacity. You went from general indifference to the whole thing to working really hard and really throwing yourself into it and really understanding what you wanted to accomplish, and you really worked hard for this. And it was really, it's really impressive. You didn't complain about it. You worked hard, and you really learned it. You're being presented with the talit today, the talit that I was given by my parents when I was 13 years old on this stage. And I hope that you get as much use and joy out of it as I have. And I hope. As your father, I expected to bestow upon you my character traits so you could learn from me. But that's the opposite of what's happened. Jacob, you are your own person. And from day one, you have always marched to the beat of your own drum. You don't follow the group for the sake of fitting in, but rather you do what feels right for you. You find reading and Greek mythology much more interesting than in most of my hobbies. So rather than do what I like, you go and do what you think is interesting to you. And that's awesome. And while it's totally unfathomable to me why you don't want to do what I want to do, it's your independence that makes you so special. And you do what interests you. And it's amazing. It's a lesson for me and it's a lesson for others. Your independence shows remarkable toughness, of which you have in spades. As I'm sure you remember, after my bright idea to take you and your sister mountain biking and race down the hill at 40 miles an hour, you had a crash where you broke both your arms and broke your nose and got a concussion. Not only did you get back up and get back on that bike, but you still ride to this day. And that's a great metaphor for life, is that you are tough and that you do persevere. And I love that about you. And I learned from you, and your independence is, I learn from you every day. You also teach me to slow down and enjoy what I'm doing. You have a remarkable ability to enjoy what you're doing, focus on it, and really stay in the moment. Anyone who has ever seen you eat ice cream knows exactly what I'm talking about. And while I make fun of your over-the-top love of chocolate and inability to keep it from dripping all over your face, I love watching it. I love seeing your enjoyment. You remind me to enjoy the little things, even if it's as simple and messy as ice cream. When you're enjoying something, you literally spread that happiness to the entire family. This applies equally to your laugh. It is nearly every day that we will hear your laugh bellowing out of your room, and it will stop me in my tracks and almost immediately make me start laughing too. There is literally no better person in the world for me to watch a funny movie with, because that great laugh of yours is infectious. To the point where it drives me to show you even more, perhaps inappropriate movies, just so I can get that laugh to happen. You and I will often just start laughing about a quote from Step Brothers or any other movie that we can, and we just share that, and I love that about you, and it's that laugh that makes me remember that spending time with you and my family is immeasurably more important than work. And while I'm complimenting your laugh and independence, I left out your most important quality, your kindness. Your first instinct is never to make fun of someone or to take advantage of anyone. Rather, you are always willing to be someone who is there to comfort anyone in need. You don't like when animals or people have the slightest bit of discomfort. And while I find it quite ironic that your Torah portion is about animal sacrifice, your kindness and positive outlook even permitted you to find the positive in that Torah portion, even though your mitzvah project was about saving animals. So, this little speech describing your qualities does not do you justice. You're not just a sweet, independent kid who loves to laugh, but you are our first kid, our parents' first grandchild, and you have exceeded our dreams in nearly every single way. Always keep laughing, always keep being yourself, and always keep being kind. These qualities will serve you well throughout life, and they will always remind me to keep following you. Jacob, I love you, I learned from you, and I am so proud of you.
All right, give your dad a hug, and then you're going to take the talit from your parents and recite the blessing for the first time as bar mitzvah.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehitatef b'tzitzi.
Amen. All right, we're going to call up Justin and Danielle officially for the first Aliyah. You'll be able to follow in those large chumashim, the large books, page 585, the beginning of the book of Leviticus.
Ya'amdu Gavriel ben Alta bar Varish Velea, Daniela bat Yoel Vesara Rishon.
You can take your talit, Justin, and touch here.
I'm doing this now?
Yep.
What about the before and after?
That one's going to be first, yep. Hold on.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Amarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Vayikra El Moshe Vaydaber Adonai Elav Me Ohel Moed Lemor Daber El Bnei Yisrael Ve'amarta Alehem Adam Ki akriv miken korban ladonai minha behema minha bakar uminha tzon takrivu et korban hem im olah korbano minha bakar zahar tamim yakrivenu el petak o helmo ed yakrivoto lirtsono lifnei Adonai V'samak yado ol rosh ha'olah v'nirtzalo lehaper alav.
Go ahead, you can touch here, Justin. Your talit. Concluding blessing. Go ahead.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'hayei olam nata v'tohenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. We're going to call the grandparents up for the second aliyah. If you'll join us up here, come on up.
Yamdu Yoel ben Daniel Vernice, Vesarabat Yosol, Ubes, Ubar Alter Barish ben Ian, Velea bat Jack, Veyosol ben Yitzav, Vililian Sheni.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Vishahat et ben habakar lifnei Adonai vehikrivu b'nei Aharon hakohanim et hadam vizariku et hadam ol hamizbeach saviv asher petak ohel moed vehishit et haolah venita oto lintaheha venantenu B'nei Aharon hakohanim hakohen eish al hamizbeach ve'arhu eitzim al ha'eish ve'arhu b'nei Aharon hakohanim et hanetahim et harosh ve'et hapader al ha'eitzim asher al ha'eish asher al hamizbeach ve'arhu eitzim al ha'eish what? V'harav v'arhatz b'mayim v'hitir hakohen et hakol hamizbeach olah ishe reach nihoach ladonai.
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'hayei olam nota b'socheinu. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Abachor הבר מצווה יעמוד, יעמוד. יעקב בן גבריאל ודניאל השלישי, חזק, 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 חזק.
All right, we're going to now have our bar mitzvah share with you some of his teachings today before he turns to the blessings and the Torah reading. I know he's going to do this really slowly and clearly. And Jake, your turn. Go ahead.
My Torah portion is the Vayikra, which is about sacrifice. It involves making sacrifices of animals or grains as an offering to Adonai. This offering is a thank you gift to Adonai. It is for forgiveness if you have committed a sin or did something you feel guilty about. It is also for forgiveness if you have brought shame or guilt to your community. There are many rituals which must be followed in the sacrifice of animals, including using a healthy young bull or a female goat. The blood of an animal is spread across an altar, and there are many rules about where and how it is done. One thing that I noticed about this Torah portion is that everyone is given the opportunity for forgiveness. If you are poor and cannot afford to bring a bull for sacrifice, you may bring a dove. If you cannot afford a dove, you may bring grain. I think a great lesson is that everyone should have the same chance for forgiveness. Everyone should have the same opportunities in life, whether you are rich or poor. People want to feel redemption and feel good about themselves. Now that I'm a bar mitzvah, I will need to take on responsibilities and traditions. Becoming a bar mitzvah is a tradition for the Jewish people. While it is often said that you become a man when you are a bar mitzvah, what it really means is that I now have the responsibility of becoming more mature and responsible. It is special for me because I now feel like I am in the bar mitzvah club. I have studied, learned, read the Torah, and am proud to carry on this tradition. My mom had her bar mitzvah at Temple Judea, and my dad had his bar mitzvah at Temple Aliyah in this very talit that I'm wearing right now. My Torah portion focuses on sacrifice and opportunities. I know that my parents have given me so many opportunities, and it saddens me that a lot of people aren't given those same opportunities. I hope to make a difference in this world by helping others. For my Mitzvah project, I worked with West Coast Labrador Rescue to place a dog in my grandparents' home and to raise money for their facility. Some dogs weren't given a chance based on their age or looks, and this is so sad. I was happy to be able to give every animal an opportunity. I want to thank my parents for helping me with this accomplishment of a bar mitzvah and for all the opportunities they have given me. Thank you, Rabbi Vogel and Rabbi Golkow, for your help getting me to this day. Thank you, Hazan Mimi, Hazan Stein, and Bilha for all the time we spent practicing prayers and melodies. And thank you, everyone, for coming to celebrate my bar mitzvah with me.
All right, he's going to recite the blessings in a moment, Julie. This is going to be the moment. She's going to hand out some candy to just the first couple of rows over here. If you'll take them quietly, and when it's time to throw them, you're going to throw them gently like you're sending a kiss to our bar mitzvah, a gentle, loving kiss rather than a fastball. Jake, you're going to begin with the blessing, please.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorah. Baruch Adonai Hamvorah L'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher Bahar Banu Mikol Hamanam Ve'natan Lanu Et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah. Ve'imin hatzon korbano min hakesavim o min ha'izim la'ola zahar tamim yakrivenu vishahat oto al yeret hamizbeach zafona lifnei Adonai vehikrivu b'nei Aharon hakohanim et damo al hamizbeach saviv Venitak oto linta heha ve'et rosho ve'et pedro ve'arak hakohen otam al ha'itzim asher al ha'ish asher al hamizbeha ve'hakir v'hakirayim yirhatz b'mayim Vayikriv hakohen et hakol vayitir hamizbeach olah hu ishe reach nihoach ladonai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher nantan lanu Torah emet v'hayei olam nantan betoheinu Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Simen Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simen Tov, Simen Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simen Tov, Simen Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simen Tov, Yehelanu, 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 Ulecha Yisrael, Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Ulecha Yisrael. David Melech Yisrael, Chai v'kayam. David Melech Yisrael, Chai v'kayam. Simen Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simen Tov, Simen Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simen Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simen Tov, Yehelanu.
I tell you what, we're going to have the grounds crew come up later to clean up. All right, go ahead. You take them with you. Jake, how you feeling? Better?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's always that moment. And Danielle, are you feeling a little bit better? Okay, good. Right? We knew that Danielle was a little bit more nervous actually than Jake through this whole process. And Justin, to be able to have you, the history with Temple Aliyah and your family, right? Connection to this congregation, to be blessed to have a great-grandfather, to be able to be here to celebrate and to be part of that continuity. You are really blessed, and I hope you appreciate that. When we talked, we spoke about so many different things, the things that you like to do, the way that you engage in terms of your friends and represented by how many. It's such a beautiful, wonderful group of this year in terms of B'nai Mitzvah. And you, what I loved hearing about you was your love of people and of animals, which is interesting, of having a portion that deals with sacrifices. But what I love what you focus on is the equality in the sacrificial system. Now, you focus on whatever they could bring, they were able to, and it's situated. Ideally, if you could bring an ox, you could. If not, you could bring a sheep. If not, you could bring a dove. Whatever you could bring was acceptable in the eyes of God. But by the way, you had to know the best that you could do. Isn't that interesting? You might think, oh, I can get away with something less. Who's going to know? And the idea is not just that God knows, but that the individual knew. I think that's how life is in general. There are ways in which you can cut corners. There are ways that you can do things you think, oh, nobody will notice. Right? Oh, they won't know that I cheated a little here or a little bit there. The question is, you know. And then how do you feel about yourself? Part of this tradition is having a sense of honesty, of being able to want to make a big difference in the world. And Danielle, I know for you, you said as soon as he came out, what am I going to say as bar mitzvah? We wonder what life is going to look like for our family. We wonder, grandparents, great-grandparents, what is the next generation going to be like? And to be in that moment, that's why it's so emotional, to be able to feel the blessings that we have. Jake, I'm going to share with you a blessing that's actually found in the book of Leviticus a little bit later from where you read. It's a blessing that's been passed on for thousands of years, and it goes like this. Yevarecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'hunecha, Yisad Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. Jacob Gold, may God's presence always shine upon you. May you bring goodness and life into this world. May you always find goodness and to help create peace, and we say, Amen. Now, I know you're going to get many gifts, by the way, today, right? We already started. We have from the synagogue, there's a Kiddush cup, right? There's a book for you. I know you get lots of gifts, but I know that there's one little special thing I'm going to give you right now, because I just know what it means to you. Go ahead. And it may be his most cherished gift, at least tonight. So I want you to hold on to that. In the meantime, we're going to call forward to open our ark at the end of the Torah service, as I will walk around with the Torah. Sloan and Nolan Gold, Anthony and Adriana. Berlant, if you'll join us up here, you're going to open up the ark for us. We rise together. We're back in the prayer book. Please, page 222.
Eitz Chaim Lamachazim V'tomcheha Me'ushar Deracheha Darchenu בכל נתיבותיה החלום השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה קדש ימינו כקדם השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה קדש ימינו כקדם.
We're going to continue. Jake, we're going to have you come back up. We're back in the prayer books, page 222. We're going to begin with the Chatzi Kaddish, page 222.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא יברח חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביום בכון, ובחיי לכל בית ישראל, בעגלה, בעגלה, בזמן קריב, ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבם מבורך, לעלם לעלמי עלמיה, יתברך, יתברך, וישתבח, ויתפאר, ויתרומם, ויתנשא, ויתהדר, ויתעלה, ויתעלה, שמי דקודשה, ברכו לעילה ממקום אתה בשירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דאמירן בעולמה, ואמרו
Page 223, you'll find the Amidah. We hope you'll join along with us as Jake is going to lead us in this prayer. You can take off your mask, Jake, by the way, too.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elokei Avoteinu Elokei Abraham Elokei Yitzchak v'Elokei Yaakov Elokei Sarah Elokei Rivka Elokei Rachel v'Elokei Leah Hahel Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Hasadim Tovim Vekoneh Hakol V'Zoher Hastei Avot Umevi Goel Lifnei Vanehem Lema Shemo Be'ahava Mele Ozer Ufoked Umoshia Umagen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham, Ufoket Sarah. Atagi Bor Lila Adonai Mehaye Metim Atab Rav Lehoshia Mashiv HaRuach Umarid HaGasham Mehakel Haim Behesed Mehaye Metim Berahamim Ramim Somet Noflim Verofe Holim Umantir Asurim Umikayem Emunato Nisrene Afar Mihamoha Ba'akavurot Umedomelak Melamemi Umehaye Umatsmiya Yeshua Mene Atale Hahayot Metim Baru Ata Adonai Mehaye HaMetim
Nekadesh Nabalam Shematosh Ram Kakatuvniacha Karzel Sev Yamaha.
נקדש שם שמך בעולם כשם שמעתי שמו אותו בשמי מרום כרצו ויד נביאך וקורא זה אל זה ואמר
Kadosh, 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 Adonai Tzvaot, Melech Haaretz Kevodo.
קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות מלך הארץ כבודו לעומתם ברוך יאמרו
Baruch Adonai Mimkomo.
ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו ובדברי קודשך כתוב לאמור
Yimloch Adonai Le'olam, Elohai Sion, L'dor Vador, Hallelujah.
ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון לדור ודור, הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד, כי המלך גדול וקדוש אתה. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
The Amidah continues silently. Hebrew or English? Shh. Boys in the back, shh. If you could, you're doing a great job. Silently, Hebrew, English, or if you prefer, the private prayers, meditations of your heart.
Oh, say shalom. Please sing along if you know it. Say shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, ya'aseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
You may be seated just for a moment, though, on page 230, Kaddish Shalem.
יתגלל ויגאל השמי רבה,
אמן.
ועמד יברכי רותי, וימלוך מלכותי בחיי חונה וימי חונה וחיי לכל בית ישראל. Bagala Uzman Karivi Immeru, Amen. Yehishme Rabam Mivora, La'alam La'al Me'al Maya, Yitbarach, Yitbarach, V'yishtabach, V'yitbarach, V'shemam V'yinaseh, V'yitadar, V'yitalev, V'yitalal, Shemei Dekudesha, Rechu, Le'ela Min Kol Birchata V'shirata, Tushbarat V'nechem Atat, Amiron Ba'alma V'yimmeru, Amen. Titkabal Tzoloton, V'urhon D'chol Beit Yisrael, Kodom U'Shemaya V'yimmeru, Amen. Yehei Shalom Rabba Min Shemaya, V'chaim V'leiveko Yisrael V'yimmeru, Amen. Oseh Shalom B'imrama, Yaseh Shalom, Aleinu V'yakol Yisrael V'yimmeru, Amen.
Jake, you're going to join us back up here one more time for Aleinu. We rise together, please, page 231.
Aleinu Eshabeach Ladon Hakol Latet Yadula Leotzer Bereshit Selo Asanu Kugoye Ha'aratot Velo Samanu Kamishbahot Ha'adam Selo Sam Elkenu Kahem Vegora Lenu Koho Hamonam Be'anak Nukorim Umishahavim Umodim Lifnei Melech Malhei Hamlahim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Zechunot HaShamayim Ve'yosed Arotz Umoshav Yekaro B'Shamayim Imol Ushinat Uzo Begav He Meromi Hu Eloheinu Ein Ud Emet Malkeinu Efezu Ato Kakato Betorato Vedata Hayom Hashevota Alevaveham Ki Adonai Hua Elohim Bashamayim Mima'ol Ve'ol ha'aretz Mitahat Ein Ud Kakatu b'torateha Adonai yimlok l'olam va'ed v'ne'emar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol ha'aretz bayom hahu yiyeh Adonai echad Ushamo Echad.
All right, Jake, you can sit with your parents. You may be seated for a final prayer. The Mourner's Kaddish, recited at the end of our prayers always. Page 232, if there's anybody who has a need or desire to recite these words of memory for the Yort site, or if anybody's in the period of mourning still, page 232, I invite you to rise to recite these words with me. Yit gadal ve'yit kadash shemei rabbah, amen. Ve'alma divrach rutei ve'amlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, b'gala u'bizman kari v'meru, amen. Yehesh shmei rabbah mavorach le'olam u'mei omaya. Yitbarach, V'yishtabach, V'yitpa'ar, V'yitromam, V'yitnaseh, V'yitadar, V'yit'aleh, V'yithalal, Shemei Dekudesha, Brichu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushvechata v'nechamata, Da'miran v'alma v'meru, Amen. Yehe shlama rabba min shavaya, V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'meru, Amen. Oseh shalom b'romav, Hu yaseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'meru, Amen. You may be seated. Jake, you made it. Danielle, you made it. It's such a pleasure to share always with family, friends who come from near, from far, from across the country, from the suburbs of Los Angeles, of Las Vegas. Like, people come from all over just to be able to share Bar Bat Mitzvah here. Jake, we're going to have you come up, all right, to Danielle and Justin and Julie. Come on, because this is what we call a Shehechianu moment, a moment of sanctifying life. Grandparents, isn't this a moment you want to hold on to forever? It's beautiful. Let's all rise together, all right? Put your arms around your neighbor. Go ahead, come on, we're going to do this blessing together. We hope, shh, girls, don't hurt each other back there, please. Thank you. All right, let's join together in Shehechianu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimah v'higiyanu lazman hazeh Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimah v'higiyanu lazman hazeh.
We're going to do an amen now. Join along. Come on, let's hear it. That's it.
Amen.
Let's do that one more time. Let's hold on to that. Here we go. Mazal Tov, Jake!
Simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, simen tov, mazel tov, simen tov, Yehelanu, 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 Olecha Yisrael, Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Olecha Yisrael, David Melech Yisrael, Chai v'kayam. David Melech Yisrael, Chai v'kayam.
Enjoy, everybody.